Let's take a look at every Premier League team's most disappointing player of the 17-18 season so far. The one the fans might have had high hopes for but has failed to really hit the mark. Arsenal, Alexandre Lacazette. Alright, starting off with a bit of a controversial one, picking on the lad who's out for about 2 months with an injury. I will say this though, when Arsenal paid Lyon a club record £46 million for Alexandre Lacazette last summer, Gunners supporters nearly wet themselves with excitement. Since then he's been dumped on the bench quite a lot, barely moved a muscle away from home, and looks like he'll struggle to hit double digits for the rest of the season. With Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang already here, the Frenchman is effectively that once shiny toy who is now being chucked under the bed. Bournemouth, Jermain Defoe. Last summer, Jermain Defoe was one of the most lucrative free agents in the business after bagging 15 top-flight goals for one of the worst Premier League teams known to man. And then he did end up at Bournemouth for a reported £130,000 a week. That man earns more than Harry Kane, for God's sake. 3 goals in 20 appearances. That's all he's managed to do as he's finally started to act his age. Brighton, Tim Krul. Considering Tim Krul hasn't played a minute of Premier League football for Brighton, can I really include him? Yes, that's exactly why I am. It's been a huge waste of time for all concerned. Brighton fans might have thought they were getting a World Cup hero with over 150 Premier League appearances in his back pocket. I don't know what's happened to him, but he can't get a look in past Matt Ryan. I wouldn't mind, but he's only 29. Maybe he started too young. Having played behind the likes of Titus Bramble and Mike Williamson, this is a man who has seen far too much. Burnley, John Walters. An unsung hero at Stoke, just forget the game where he scored 2 own goals and missed a penalty. Burnley were signing a proven marksman with 7 seasons of Premier League experience with John Walters linked up with Sean Dyche's men. Yes, Burnley have been much better than Stoke, but Walters has barely featured, injury sidelining him for the majority of the season. Chelsea, TIEMOUE, BAKAYOKO. As the season wears on, Alvaro Morata's struggles are really tempting me, but I'll go for TIEMOUE BAKAYOKO. What was the point of getting rid of Nemanja Matic, 2-time Premier League champion, for this absolute waste of space? Signing him for £40 million makes as much sense as forking out a combined £45 million for Drinkwater and Ross Barkley. Crystal Palace, Christian Benteke. Are we sure Crystal Palace sold the right Benteke last season? Christian Benteke is a man who cost 2 clubs upwards of £30 million. He scored 17 goals in 40 games last season. So just how is he stuck on 2 goals in 25 this time around? If Palace had an actual decent, living, breathing alternative that wasn't Connor Wickham, he'd have been dropped months ago. Everton, Michael Keane. Everton's defence has been laughable at times this season. Not exactly what they were going for when they signed a goalkeeper and a centre-back for a combined £60 million. Michael Keane has been playing football like he doesn't know his arse from his elbow this season, so I think Manchester United are actually interested in taking it back from Burnley. Huddersfield, Tom Ince. 1 goal in 30 games. When will Premier League teams realise that Tom Ince belongs in that chasm between the top flight and the Championship? He's too good for the latter division, but clearly not Premier League standard. Leicester City, Kelechi Iheanacho. When Kelechi Iheanacho signed for Leicester City in a £20 million deal last summer, it looked like a coup. Fans everywhere rushed to throw him into their fantasy league team. I know I did. They were left pretty disgusted at his paltry efforts, although by the time he did net his first league goal, which was last week, I'm guessing the only fantasy league managers who still had him in were the ones who'd forgotten their passwords after the first week. Liverpool, Simon Mignolet. Well, would Liverpool fans really be disappointed by a man they already had no faith in? Simon Mignolet looks to be on his way out of Liverpool after losing his place to Loris Karius. It has not been a good season for the Belgian. Man City, Danilo. Trying to find an underwhelming player at Man City this season is like trying to find an ugly model, but we'll try. Danilo, I suppose, came from Real Madrid for £26.5 million and has failed to stamp down a starting place when the likes of Fabian Delph have, in a position he should be a lot more comfortable in than him. Man United, Alexis Sanchez. When Alexis Sanchez signed for Manchester United, it seemed a strange, unnecessary and expensive signing. Paying an aging 29-year-old £500,000 a week when he was already in the middle of an underwhelming season for Arsenal, maybe it's harsh to judge a player in just 10 games for his new club, but he's looked poor. Newcastle, Dwight Gale. When Dwight Gale was battering in goals for fun last season, there were Newcastle fans who got a little bit carried away. Well, he scored 5 goals so far this season. He's worked hard, but he's not exactly a Premier League goal scorer. Southampton, Fraser Forster. With the England goalkeeping situation being what it is, Fraser Forster couldn't have picked a worse time to completely drop his career down the toilet. The 30-year-old began the season making errors left, right and centre and has since been dropped for Alex McCarthy. Tottenham, Danny Rose. The season did not start well for Danny Rose, coming under fire for some comments that wouldn't have looked out of place coming out of Adebayor's mouth. He's since played 6 league games for Tottenham. If he wasn't perceived to be the best left back in the country, he wouldn't even be going to Russia. Stoke City, JESE RODRIGUEZ. JESE RODRIGUEZ at Stoke City. What has happened to that man's career? The former Real Madrid and PSG man made a great start to life at Stoke, scoring the winner against Arsenal, but there have been no goals since. There has been bench warming, storm outs and plenty of squabbling over penalties though. Swansea City, Renato Sanchez. Renato Sanchez to Swansea City on loan was almost up there with Tevez and Mascherano to West Ham in terms of the bizarre transfers. The Bayern Munich kid won Euro 2016 and the Golden Boy Award not so long ago. Surely he was going to stand out like a gem for Swansea. Well, no, actually, he's looked like one of their worst players, struggling for fitness and time on the ball. Passing the ball to an advertisement hoarding was my personal favourite. Watford, Andre Gray. Andre Gray is not an £18 million player. I'm sorry, but that is a fee that just makes a mockery of the transfer market. The former Burnley man has scored 4 goals for Watford. He's a centre forward. West Brom, Daniel Sturridge. Do I really need to elaborate? West Ham, Javier Hernandez. When Javier Hernandez signed for West Ham, this was the marquee signing that would breathe new life back into the stale London stadium. Sadly no, the Mexican is not tailor-made for David Moyes. I think we found that out in 2013, and has since been sentenced to bench warming duty. 7 goals in 29 games. Not great.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.